Your Excellency, Sheikh Nayan bin Mubarak Al Nahyan, Your Excellency also, Minister Al Mansouri, who I had the pleasure of meeting earlier today. And I do want to also acknowledge a great friend of Canada, His Excellency the Chancellor of the Canadian University here in Dubai, Mr. Bouti Al-Gandhi. And the President, of course, Karim Cheli, who is also a very distinguished Canadian. Distinguished members of the board, Mr. Ambassador Lelini, Mr. Consul General in Dubai of Canada, Mr. Keriamanakis, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, graduates and members of your family. Sayyidati Sadatati. أنا سيد جدا بلكلي معكم وتشرف أن أكون هنا اليوم. هذه زيارتي لوالدة الإمارات العربية المتحدة. لك أعجبتني دولة الإمارات كثيراً حتى أنني أفكر في الانتقال إلى هنا. Chers amis du Canada et chers amis de l'Université canadienne ici à Dubaï, c'est pour moi un très grand honneur, je suis accompagné de mon épouse Michel, d'être reçu ici dans les États-Unis d'Arabie avec nos amis canadiens et de pouvoir fréquenter votre pays pour la première fois. Ladies and gentlemen, I have dedicated my political life to the idea of Canada. Through numerous election campaigns and 2 referendums, it seems that whatever I was doing, I was defending the idea that Canada should remain a united country and fighting so that my province of Quebec would be part of my country. For this reason alone, I am deeply honored to receive an honorary doctorate from the CUD. I'm also very impressed with the accomplishments of this young university, only 10 years old, that has chosen and made an honor of choosing Canada as its model. Dubai and Canada, at first glance, seem to be literally worlds apart. And in many ways we are, especially given the respective size of our countries. But in other ways, we are moving in the same direction. I should add that given the biting cold of a Canadian winter, we would love to live closer to Dubai. Your country has been fortunate. Since its founding, the United Arab Emirates has had strong, stable, and visionary leadership. The UAE lives in a part of the world that may seem far from Canada, but we have much in common. Both of our countries are heavily reliant on trade to maintain our standards of living. Canada is a knowledge-based economy with a strong resource sector, and the UAE is, of course, a country with a strong dependence on the exports of its hydrocarbons, but also with an extraordinary progression in services in its financial center, tourism, and has successfully become one of the world's great transportation hubs. The city of Dubai, in particular, is phenomenal. Beyond the usual comparisons, we also share other common traits. Canada is a country of diversity. Both our countries are countries of diversity. Canada was founded by the French, the English, and our Aboriginal people that we call First Nations. The UAE is a country founded on an ancient culture, a Muslim country, a country of extraordinary diversity. In Canada, over 20% of our population are not born in our country. And in the city of Toronto, which is the 4th biggest city in North America, over 46% of the people who live in Toronto are not born in Canada. I am a visible minority in Toronto. And this speaks to the great diversity of our country. From the outset, Canada became a country because of our willingness to live within a federal system of government. The French, English, and the diversity of religions were accommodated. The UAE is also the joining of 7 different Arab Emirates who also chose a federal system of government. In Canada, just like the CUD, we celebrate diversity. We know from experience that our success as a country depends on our ability to integrate a broad diversity of people in the mainstream of our country. And as we look to the future, I believe that the UAE and Canada are setting an example for the rest of the world in regards to the movement of people. In a world with more open markets, globalized supply chains, disruptive technologies, low productivity, and aging population, countries who are looking for a new source of growth are also having to look at new choices for their country. We need to do more to educate our young people, as we are doing here at CUD. At this university, 53% of the school's student body are women. Throughout the world, it doesn't make a lot of sense that we do not do more to allow women to make the choice of entering the labor market by eliminating the obstacles that they have in front of them. Our countries should value the talent of half of the world's population. My next point is that the UAE and Canada should continue to stand out as world leaders on moving towards knowledge-based economy and the movement of people. Canada has only 36 million people. We need immigration. We need researchers. We need professionals. We need tradespeople. We need non-skilled labor in Canada. And on the movement of people, I believe the UAE and Canada should work together. To this end, my government, when I was in government, did 2 things. We signed a landmark agreement with France and Quebec to recognize the qualifications of our citizens. If you're a doctor in France, you're a doctor in Quebec, an engineer in Quebec, an engineer in France. It covers 80 trades and professions, butchers and plumbers and anything that's regulated. And the idea behind this agreement is to make it as seamless as possible so that people can move from one continent to the other, to build a bridge across the ocean so that we can freely move from one place to the other. The second thing my government did, which is unique in the world, was to invite foreign students to come and study in Quebec, and this applies to the students who are here today, to your graduating class. Every foreign student who comes to Quebec is offered upon graduation a certificate to become a Canadian citizen, without exception, so that we can host all those who wish to live in our country. When you think of it, it makes sense. Students who choose to study in Canada are partly integrated. We do not have to ask ourselves whether they are qualified or not. We participated in their education. This policy makes eminent sense. The special circumstances of the UAE have allowed you to create one of the most modern cities in the world right here in Dubai. I've been impressed by the fact that there are over 40,000 Canadians, expats, who have chosen to come here, to live in the UAE, to work with you, and to participate in the building of your country. You have opened your doors to the world, and thousands, millions of people have come here to the United Arab Emirates. Since my arrival here only a few days ago, my Canadian compatriots have shared with me their deep respect and admiration for the ability of the UAE to build a forward-looking country in a society that accepts and values diversity. As an institution, the Canadian University in Dubai is the strongest symbol of the common values shared between Canada and the UAE. There are students here from 124 countries, from diverse religions and backgrounds, who learn and live together in a spirit of tolerance and of respect for each other. In the future, Globalization will evolve beyond the issues of trade and supply chains. From the movement of goods and services in the world, our deep belief is that we are going to move to a period of strong movement of people. There's an Arab proverb that says, Al-Haraka Barak. For those who don't understand Arab, that means in movement there is blessing. The prosperity and well-being of countries with aging populations will depend on their ability to open their doors to new people. Already this is the case for countries like Germany, Japan, and Canada, for whom this has become self-evident. These countries will either thrive or decline based on their willingness to attract new people, people of all walks of life. The movement of people will be the next great trend, but it can only happen at one condition: that you, the leaders of the UAE, know, that you, the students in this room, know. There can only be movement of people if we accept diversity, if we accept the fact that we embrace this diversity and that we respect each other. The UAE and Canada are two countries who, in their respective parts of the world with their respective realities, have come to the conclusion that our values, our culture, our traditions, and our prosperity depend on our ability to lead. As I conclude my remarks, I want to address myself directly to the graduating class and share with you a few thoughts from a famous French author whose name was André Mauroy, a member of l'Académie Française. And André Mauroy wrote a letter to the next generation of Europeans that followed the Second World War and the disaster of that event. And he wanted to address himself to that next generation. Alors, la citation que je veux vous partager avec vous aujourd'hui vient d'un auteur français qui s'adresse à la génération qui suit la sienne, après avoir vécu les affres d'une terrible guerre. And so in this letter to young people, he says this: do not be rushed. Fortune and fame born in an instant is also lost in an instant. I hope that you will encounter obstacles and challenges. The battle will harden you. At 50 or 60 years of age, you will acquire the powerful and rough appearance of old, storm-battered rocks. The hostile world will shape you. You will become characters, and you will have character. And the tides of opinion will make you smile. When you are young, everything seems terrible. The first obstacles in life when we're young seem to be insulting, offensive to us. And human malice may shock you. Ensure that you have internal fortitude against all cruelty. In their deepest thoughts, every man can build a shelter that defies the most effective weapons and the most poisonous words. What fears a heart at peace with itself? No persecution, no slander can weaken the testimony that the heart gives to its innermost thoughts. Finally, be modest and be bold. Love, think, work, lead. All these things, as your leaders know, are difficult. And over the course of your earthly existence, you will not accomplish any of them as perfectly as you dreamed during your adolescence. But regardless of how difficult they seem, they are not by any means impossible. Before you, innumerable generations of men have accomplished them, and wisely or poorly, those men journeyed through the narrow light of life between two deserts of shadows. What are you afraid of? The roll is short, and the public is mortal as you are. Shukran jazilan, Sayyidati was Sadati. لاستقبالكم لي هنا، وأتمنى أن يكون لك هنا قريبا في كندا.